The operation's over. The doctor said it went well. The patient will be out in a minute, and you'll be able to say hi.
It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
Trump says the prognosis is that the patient will be stronger, bigger, better, and more resilient than ever before. But first, it has to heal. And healing takes time. The American economy is in pain. It's been walking around with a limp for decades. Emergency surgery was necessary.
For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that, he promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Kamala Harris admitted during the campaign that the American dream was dead. She didn't have to say it, but we all knew it. Her boss and his gang killed it. American workers haven't gotten a real raise in 30 years. And the saddest part is our own companies conspired with the politicians to keep it that way. They moved factories out of the country, used dirt cheap foreign labor, and sold the product back into the country with no tariff and made a killing. And then they said, enjoy your cheap TVs. Well, what good's a cheap TV if you're barely making any money, your factory closed down, and you live in a ghost town? Watch your shows and shut up, is basically what they said. Is that really the best we can do for the country?
What gives you so much certainty that this is going to work and that this isn't going to hurt the everyday American?
The largest tariff and trade barrier country in the world is China, and they don't have inflation. So these things don't occur the way people suggest they do. This is a reordering of global trade for the benefit of America. These people have all been living in our house. They've been driving our car. They come by and visit, open our fridge, and eat our food whenever they want. They've taken advantage of us. Today was the day of the beginning of saying, I'm sorry, you can't just live for free off of us. You have to pay.
It's only been 24 hours since the surgery, and the media is already saying, they can't walk. Paul Krugman wonders, will malignant stupidity kill the world economy? Well, Krugman knows a thing or two about being malignantly stupid. He's the one who said if Trump was elected in 2016, he'd plunge the world into a recession. Instead, wages rose, unemployment hit 50-year lows, the stock market hit all-time highs, and we had zero inflation. And Trump's not worried about the world economy. He's worried about the American one. Jim Kramer's chiming in, too.
We have a market that was doing extremely well last year until the Trump administration sowed a level of uncertainty that I can't recall any time since Are You Ready, Ski Daddy, Jimmy Carter, which is the last time people were really worried about inflation, about stagflation, okay? Back then, stagflation was real. Now, Jimmy Carter, curious benchmark. Break out the cardigan sweater. I know it's a brutal comparison. You think I did it idly? I cannot think of another president in my lifetime who knocked down the stock market simply by opening his mouth.
Kramer's the guy who told you to sell Tesla 15 years ago. It's up 20,000% since then. When Trump slapped tariffs on China in his first term, the stock market tanked too. And Kramer's eyeballs popped right out of his head. But then his eyeballs always pop right back in because manufacturing came back, China negotiated a deal, and the market ripped. The people criticizing the trade war have been wrong about everything. These are the same people who triggered China's rise, the same people who pushed NAFTA, and the same people who said, let's just shut down the entire economy for 2 years and spend $1 gazillion bucks. So far, Trump's been right about China, the border, the Green New scam. There's a pretty good chance he's right about trade. Donald Trump isn't the president of the New York Stock Exchange. He's the president of the United States of America and is looking at the future of the country 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, not just earnings the next quarter. Pat Buchanan once said, quote, to me, the country comes before the economy, and the economy exists for the people. And not just certain people, everyone. The way we're talking about globalism kind of reminds me of COVID. Remember how you weren't really allowed to question anything? Governors who wanted to end lockdowns, they were called dumb and dangerous. Everyone had to conform. Well, the lockdowns weren't working for most of us. And if globalism's not working anymore, we're allowed to change it up. Trump's got every right to change it up. He ran on it and won on it. We're not just asking everybody to change their religion. Just change how much access we give the world. Because right now we're giving the world full access and getting nothing back. This isn't new. America used to have no income tax. We raised all revenue from tariffs. And that made us an industrial powerhouse that won us 2 world wars. Protecting the working man used to be what both parties did. Here's Nancy from 96. She sounded like Trump in a pantsuit.
In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade.
Nancy used to be a patriot, but then all of her pillow talk with Paulie P made her $200 million, and now all she cares about is her portfolio, not the American people. Back in the day, Bernie Sanders was calling Bush and Obama sellouts for what they did to the country.
What they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America, because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street, because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good-paying jobs in America as we shut down plants, we move to China, corporations there pay workers 20, 30 cents an hour, and we bring the product back into this country.
History proved both of them right. So why aren't Bernie and Nancy celebrating Liberation Day? Nancy called Trump's tariffs reckless, and Bernie said nothing. Trump's doing what Democrats demanded for decades: protect our industry and commit to fair trade. Now, I'm only in my 40s. I know I look a lot younger. But I've never seen a president stand up to Wall Street. Have you? Trump just stared the market right in the face while it sold off 4%. It's like sending your screwed up son to a military academy. You know it's going to hurt him at first, and he's not going to like it, and it's going to be painful. But in the long run, it's going to make him a man. The right thing to do isn't always easy. It's easy to do nothing and keep the country crumbling and let the next generation handle it. We're already seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. General Motors just announced it's ramping up production of trucks in Indiana, and hiring more Americans. Big Beef is over the moon about tariffs. They say, for too long, America's family farmers and ranchers have been mistreated by certain trading partners around the world. President Trump is taking action to address numerous trade barriers that prevent consumers overseas from enjoying high-quality, wholesome American beef. There's billions of consumers in Australia, India, China, Japan, Europe, and we can't sell them our beautiful beef. We can't sell them our cars, our rice. They can tax our products, but if we dare tax theirs, it's insanity. Silicon Valley's excited about the tariffs because the Europeans have been brutalizing them. Some are so excited they're moving next door to the White House. Zuckerberg just paid $23 million for his own personal embassy next to Trump. Energy prices, mortgage rates, treasury yields, already all coming down. And the administration's already liking what it sees. And if you're worried cars are going to cost more, buy American. Ford is giving shoppers a handshake deal.
For the next couple of months, we're going to offer our customers the same deal that our employees get. And as you say, that's worth thousands of dollars. You come into our store, you get employee pricing. This is kind of to call a little bit of a timeout. We've heard some uncertainty from our customers, and we want them to be assured that Ford, the most American auto company, is going to do right by them, as are our dealers. We make the most cars here. We employ the most. We export the most. And so we here at Ford, we're in a good position to address customers' concern and give them a really great deal on a great vehicle.
Now, we don't know how long the trade war is going to last, but countries are already lining up to bargain.
Those tariffs have come in, and every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat. If we would have asked some of these countries, almost most of these countries, to do us a favor, they would have said no. Now they'll do anything for us.
Are you open to deals with these countries if they're calling you?
Well, it depends. If somebody said that we're going to give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving us something that's good. The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well in the first administration, as you saw, but now we're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation.
France, Thailand, South Korea, already signaling they'll just do whatever we want. This is the first time in 100 years America's stood up for itself on trade. Countries know 47 means business because he knows business. Eric Trump puts it this way, quote, "I wouldn't want to be the last country that tries to negotiate a trade deal with the president. The first to negotiate will win. The last will absolutely lose. I've seen this movie my entire life." Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.